And now, words of wisdom with Adam Carriker.
Hey, vegetarians, my food literally goes to the bathroom on your food.
Very fitting. Welcome to Fourth and Paid, the only pro wrestling show to be hosted by an NFL player and a weight loss champion. He's Redskins defensive end Adam Carriker.
Holla.
Former wrestling announcer turned weight loss champion Chuck Carroll here, and this here is Fourth and Pain. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Fourth and Pain, and join us each and every Sunday morning, 8 o'clock Eastern, 106.7 The Fan. If nothing else, we're worth getting out of bed for. And Adam, it is time to review this weekend's postseason action, sans Redskins. And to do that, we welcome in friend of the show, big-time supporter, Chad Dukes. How are you, sir?
Gentlemen, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on again. I appreciate it.
The pleasure is all ours, and I don't know if you heard Adam's words of wisdom, but I couldn't think of a more appropriate one than to have you on there, who enjoys him some barbecue and some beer like nobody else I've ever heard or known in my entire life.
Well, as you boys know, I won't eat anything unless it had parents, and I live by the code, never trust a vegan, so I absolutely endorse what Adam Carriker had to say as we rejoin from commercial break.
Well, now you...
I won't eat it unless it had parents. I've never heard that, yet I love it.
As well, but now you say you'll never trust a vegan, but Daniel Bryan used to be a vegan. I know that you are a big yes man.
What about Austin Aries? He's a vegan.
True, true.
I enjoy both of them as entertainers. I would love to be friends with either one of them, but I can never trust them unless they have eaten something that has at one point in its life looked adoringly up at its mother and father.
So if you had a child, you would not trust them to babysit your child, is what you're saying.
Absolutely not. I don't know if they would be thinking tofu or some sort of wheatgrass cucumber beverage when I wasn't looking. I can't have that.
Joined by Chad Dukes here on Fourth and Paid. And before we turn our attention to the squared circle, let's talk a little bit about what happened on the gridiron this weekend. Chad, we live in the Washington area, and inevitably, I think that all of this RG3 talk is going to give way to nothing more than a big old Ravens frenzy after their double overtime win in Denver this weekend. What say you?
Do you think people in Washington, D.C. are going to jump on the Ravens bandwagon? Is that what you're saying, Chuck?
That is what I am insinuating. At least that's what's going to happen downstairs at that all-news station that I work for.
Oh, God. Look, I know a lot of Ravens fans, and I'm happy for them. I can only speak for myself. I can never root for the Ravens. Their fans are weird. Their colors are weird. Their whole mentality is strange. They're champions. I don't want to sit here and run them down, but I feel like they act like they've got 6 or 7, the fan base at least, acts like they have 6 or 7 trophies in the case, and they don't. So, if people from D.C. want to jump on the Baltimore bandwagon, I never became an Orioles fan. Baltimore's fine for an aquarium. If I want to go off there maybe to spice things up, I cannot be a part of any Ravens bandwagon. If there was one team I was pulling for, it probably was the Falcons because they were going up against the Seahawks who eliminated my team. But as far as jumping on a bandwagon during the playoffs, I would be shocked if lots of Redskins fans decided to pull for Baltimore.
Well, we'll see. I still have my sneaking suspicions that a lot of people are going to be let down, and I think that these are going to be nothing more than bandwagoners who now are going to proclaim to have been super big Ray Lewis fans for the past 16, 18, 27, however many damn seasons he's played. I think that they're just going to come out of the woodwork. But let's talk about that game a little bit. Are you seriously surprised that they were able to pull off that win out there?
Well, Baltimore, yeah. I think they were getting 10 points, and I would have taken that bet. But going into Denver and winning a game like that, where I thought Peyton Manning played pretty damn well, yeah, I absolutely am surprised by that. I don't trust Joe Flacco. I think Ray Lewis, while he's had a tremendous career, is well past his prime. I didn't think they had a run like this in them, especially after Adams' Redskins bested them the way they did. They didn't look very strong down the stretch for the most part. So, yeah, I think it's probably the biggest upset we've seen of the postseason thus far. And I don't know what it means. I don't expect them to win next weekend, but I didn't expect them to win this week. So at this point, I think anything could happen.
So you pretty much just answered the question I was going to ask, but you're pretty much predicting the Patriots, after steamrolling the Houston Texans yesterday, Patriots into the Super Bowl for the 43rd time already.
Yeah, I mean, I think a Patriots 49ers Super Bowl would be very entertaining, and I would probably pick the Patriots in that matchup. I just think that their quarterback and their head coach know how to win. I know they haven't won a playoff game since Spygate. A Super Bowl since Spygate. I get that a lot of people want to invest a lot of time and effort into that, but it's difficult to win championships. It's difficult to win multiple playoff games, even for the mighty New England Patriots. But I think you'd be a fool if you thought they weren't the favorite to win the whole thing at this point.
Speaking with Chad Dukes here on Fourth and Pain, talking about the AFC side of things, let's turn our attention back to the NFC and talking about the Seattle Seahawks nearly pull off the improbable come-from-behind victory against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday, but Atlanta pulls it out. Now you have the San Francisco-Atlanta showdown, and it sounds like you're already writing off the Falcons. Is it because you think that they're a little bit too fallible? Had Seattle not been able to do what it was they were able to do on Sunday and mount that comeback, would you say that Atlanta might have stood a better chance to defeat the 49ers, Chad?
It's funny because Atlanta, I was actually just talking with my chick about this. On paper, they have it all. I mean, they play good defense. They can run the ball. They might have the best two wide receivers in the NFL. Matty Ice is a hell of a quarterback. But, yeah, I mean, they beat the Seahawks, and I thought the Seahawks were the hottest team in the league. That is admirable, no matter, if Pete Carroll made a boneheaded ice the kicker call or not. But I just don't trust the Falcons yet. And they won in the playoffs, and I give them all the credit in the world. And I like that team. I like the city of Atlanta. But I just think the 49ers are better. And I think the 49ers are a better team, and they get the Falcons to come to them. And then Colin Kaepernick, guys, I don't know how impressed you were with him, but the ability to run the football, the ability to pass the football, and as RG3 fans, as people that have seen Griffin all year, he knows when to run out of bounds. Kaepernick knows when to throw the ball away. He knows when to get down. And that's really, really valuable. God bless the Seahawks, God bless the Falcons. It was a fun game to watch, but I was going to pick the 49ers no matter who won that game.
Adam, what about you? Who are you seeing in this? Is it going to be San Francisco or is it going to be Atlanta?
I'm gonna take San Francisco. I think it's gonna be a real close game. It's gonna be raucous. Atlanta's still out to prove people wrong. A bunch of people are still gonna say that they can't win in the playoffs, even though they just did. They went pretty much 60 yards in 30 seconds to set up that game-winning field goal. I thought that was actually really impressive. And the Seahawks were playing as good as anybody in the league at that point. They were maybe one of the few teams that could have beat us, barring RG3's injury. And I feel like the San Francisco 49ers and the Falcons are going to have a great game, but I think the Niners are going to pull it off. I think Kaepernick's versatility, his ability to run the ball, to throw the ball, I think that's going to be the difference, but I think it's going to be a real close game.
And obviously San Francisco has to be much more excited about a matchup against the Falcons than they would be against the Seattle Seahawks. But, boys, let's put the kibosh on the pigskin. We got 4 minutes here left in the interview. I want to talk a little bit about wrestling. That's what the three of us know best in this world, damn it. And this is the most exciting time of the year to be a wrestling fan. We are on the cusp, the eve of the Royal Rumble, followed closely behind by the Elimination Chamber, and then, of course, WrestleMania. And, Chad, this is a question Adam and I have been posing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Is it going to be The Rock capturing the title at Royal Rumble? And if he doesn't, what then are his plans for WrestleMania?
I just don't know how they can do it. Even though his star is as bright as it's ever been, I mean, he's still over with the fans, and he's got this monster Hollywood career. I just don't know how you put the belt on a guy that's never there. And Punk has been there the entire time. A lot of his promos, a lot of his shoot work, there's a lot of truth in it. I just don't think you can put the belt on The Rock, even if it's only till WrestleMania. What I would see is Punk defeating The Rock at this pay-per-view, and then they'd work some sort of way where you can get The Rock and John Cena involved in a program again. And I don't know if you guys saw the same thing that I saw, but there was like some leaked, quote-unquote, artwork from WrestleMania that supposedly was making its way around the internet that featured a three-way dance between Lesnar, The Rock, and Cena. And just so there's fewer times a year as you can see Lesnar or The Rock in our WWE program, it would just make the most sense and get the most juice out of a main event if those three guys were involved in some sort of feud together. So I like Punk to continue on the way that he is, to meet up with fill in the blank at WrestleMania, getting out of the Elimination Chamber as well, than to have some sort of kind of above the main event, above the WWE Championship type main event for WrestleMania involving Lesnar, The Rock, and Cena.
Now, Adam, you got to think, we go back to this once-in-a-lifetime thing from WrestleMania last year when it was Cena versus The Rock. You throw Lesnar into the equation then, kind of doesn't exactly ring true, but you still get that rematch.
I don't want to see Cena versus The Rock again. You had a whole year build up, and the War of Words was great month after month. It was fun to watch, but I don't want to see it again at WrestleMania. I want to see it at another pay-per-view. That would be great. I actually think The Rock's going to win at the Royal Rumble against CM Punk, and I think he's going to face Cena, but I don't want to see it. That's the problem. I don't want to see I want to see Cena versus Undertaker. All things bright, all things G-rated versus all things that's dark and evil. That's what I want to see.
But again, I think that if you throw Cena versus The Undertaker, you're talking about an opportunity there to pass the torch. As unpopular of an opinion as this is, I think it may, in fact, be crazy, but good for business overall. Chad, I'm curious about your opinion on that.
You mean Cena ending The Undertaker's streak?
It sounds horrible and it sounds hideous, and I want to
saying.
jump out the window for even suggesting it, but it's the WWE, and I think for business, it may not be a bad move.
I don't know. I don't know that you can end the Undertaker streak for this. John Cena is over as he's ever going to be. He sells more shirts than anybody. He sold more championship belts than anybody. I don't know that he needs to be buffed any more than he already is. And beating the Undertaker, does that add to his legacy? Sure. But I just think The Undertaker, you can't have him lose at WrestleMania at this point. If you were going to, it was the perfect setup, sweet chin music from Shawn Michaels, pedigree from Triple H. That ends the streak at 20, perfect setup. I just think it would be silly for them to do it at this point. That doesn't mean they're not, Chuck. I mean, stranger things have happened, but if it were, if it were my brothers, if I was the head writer, I don't think that it's worth it to sacrifice The Undertaker's legacy in the name of Cena, who already has accomplished everything he needs to accomplish.
Then who do you have The Undertaker facing? And I'm assuming you have him winning, but who do you have him facing at WrestleMania?
I don't have him facing anybody, Adam. Triple H came out and said that we haven't seen the last of The Undertaker. That means he could go into the Hall of Fame this year. That means that he could show up and cut a promo. I don't know that he's going to wrestle again at WrestleMania. It hasn't been confirmed yet, as far as I know. So if it was going to be anybody, if I could pick, it would be Punk. I think CM Punk versus The Undertaker would be unbelievable at this point. But then you'd have to go to what you said, Adam, take the strap off and give it to The Rock and then move forward that way. I think there's a lot of moving parts here. I think the WWE does a lot of things on the fly at this point in their current regime. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But I wouldn't just expect to see The Undertaker wrestle again at WrestleMania this year.
So many questions unresolved, but this, again, is the best time of year to be a wrestling fan. If you're a Redskins fan and you're a wrestling fan, take solace in the fact WWE is here to save you for at least the next 3 months, get you damn near all the way up until the draft in April. Chad Dukes, we greatly appreciate your time, my friend.
My pleasure, boys. Big fan of both of you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on.
This here is Fourth and Pain. We'll be right back.